Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread. I'm coming to you from the Hance Auditorium in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we've held the last 4 bread symposiums, and as you can see, there's nobody here but me. And this is where we usually have it. The seats are all empty because this year, thanks to you, the symposium will be presented online, virtually, in our new presentation hall, which is where I will join you in just a minute. Thank you, and thanks for being part of our new virtual Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. Welcome again. Throughout the entire symposium, I'll be thanking our generous sponsors over and over again, and ask that you do as well by visiting their booths and pavilions in the exhibitor hall. There you will see lots of bonus content, and you can also make appointments to meet with the folks from these companies that serve our baking community so well. Our presenting sponsor is Puratos, who has partnered with us from the very beginning for all of our symposiums, and it is their support that helped us get this one-of-a-kind gathering of thought leaders off the ground. Please also visit our fabulous flour and milling sponsors, Ardent Mills, Lindley Mills, and Central Milling. Thank you also to our equipment sponsors, the WP Bakery Group and Allied Bakery and Food Service Equipment. And thank you also to our specialty food product companies, Probiotine, Fire Within, Big Green Egg, and Mock Mill. Please check out all of their booths to learn about their wonderful and unique products. And also thanks to our media sponsors, Cook's Country, The Local Palate, the James Beard Foundation, and the Bread Bakers Guild of America. You'll be hearing more about all of them throughout the entire series of presentations. So again, thank you to all our sponsors. At the end of today's presentation, you will also see our credit scroll, thanking all of the people behind the scenes who made this event possible, including our production and technical partner, Ganoid Communications, our creative team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University, our hosts for this, our 4th annual gathering. So stick around, if you will. But now, it's time to get things rolling with today's presentation, so let's go live. And once again, welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. All right, we're back. We're back live, and we've got a lot to cover today. And the one thing that we were planning to do Monday that we didn't get to do, we're going to do right now, which is our final spin of the wheel of fortune, to award our 9-inch bread knife from Zwilling Henkel's, who were kind enough to donate a number of these beautiful bread knives. Today we're going to spin for that. And before I introduce our guest for today, Peter Yuen, who is we've got him online. We're going to try while we're doing this. Peter, you can go ahead and unmute your camera and the one audio on your phone so that we can kind of link everything. There you are. Fantastic. Welcome. And thank you so much for being here. We're going to come back to you in just a second and get you going on your lamination demo. But Gurmit, if you would go ahead and spin the wheel, we're going to watch this animated wheel spin around, and everybody who qualified, and we put everybody who signed into all the booths throughout the course of the symposium are on the wheel. So there's a lot of names on there, and here it goes. Very colorful. And I'm sure it'll light up when it lands. Slowing down. Looks like we may have a winner. Joseph Sloan. Joe, one of our regulars. Joe is he comes to the after parties all the time. It's great to see that your name came up. So we are going to arrange to have this sent to you. Joe, if you would do me a favor, and you have my email address, shoot me an email with the mailing address for where you'd like to have the knife sent. Congratulations. Thank you again to Zwilling Henkels for donating these wonderful gifts. And thank you all for logging in and visiting the sponsor booths. So with that said, let's go to Gurmeet. I'm going to let you go ahead and restore us to our screens. And I'm going to introduce Peter. While we're doing that, remind you that next week on Monday, we have Jonathan Deutsch of the Drexel Innovation Lab from Philadelphia, and Rebecca Etter from Grupo Bimbo Baking Company, largest baking company in the world. And they're going to be on together to talk about innovation options for leftover bread, which is a kind of a challenge for anyone who's in the bread business. We know, what do we do with all of it, and how can we repurpose it, and how can we perhaps monetize it? And then next Wednesday, Richard Cobbage of the Culinary Institute of America, the CIA in Hyde Park, New York, is going to join us. Richard is the author of the CIA's book on gluten-free baking. He's an expert on all kinds of baking, but has really dedicated himself in the last number of years to the gluten-free and allergen-free category. He's going to do a demo called Gluten-Free Baking, New Techniques for New Times. And I know we've got a lot of gluten-free bakers that watch, and they're also authors. Some of you saw the presentation from Charles earlier in the symposium. So this will be kind of like bringing it full circle. So that's next week. And then we have after that a couple more presentations, and then we're coming close to the end. All right. With that said, thank you all for joining us. Let me introduce you to Peter Yuen, my longtime friend who lives in Chicago. He's coming to us from his bakery in Chicago, Illinois. Peter, what is the name of your bakery?
My bakery is called La Patisserie P. The La Patisserie is just French, meaning the pastry shop.
Yeah.
P doesn't stand for Peter. It's passion for pastry. Yeah. When I took over my dad's bakery business in 2004, back then I was more of a pastry buff. So anything related to pastry, I was really diving into it. So I thought P stand for passion.
Passion well, that's you for sure. And and I know that over the course of the years, you have won a number of international competitions for your work in patisserie and baking in general. What are you going to do for us today? And do you need to have your other camera on? You've got one camera on, but only the one.
I'm going to turn on the other one as well, just so everybody get to see what am I doing, I guess. So hold on a second.
I know it's tricky when you're trying to do two cameras, but I know you've got the audio off on one, which is good, so we don't get echoes. Now I see two. And then Gurmeet and Gita producing from India, if you guys would, if you control, you control the spotlight video so that choose which one everyone will see. Right now we're seeing the close shot of the sheeter, and we're just seeing Peter from the shoulders down. So you decide based on where we're at to go back and forth and highlight whichever one, or keep both screens on if that's better for the viewers. And Peter, I know that we've been advertising this as you explained to us this lamination system that you developed and have written about and articulated and are teaching professional pastry chefs around the world how to do this. I know you've gone to Asia, you've gone to Europe, you've gone everywhere. So you've been sharing this technique with other people. Can you tell us a little bit about it and then show us how it works? And I'm going to let you go to work.
Yes, back in 2010, it was right around when I did the Master de la Boulangerie contest. That was the 2 years after I did the team competition with the Team USA, went to the World Cup of Baking, and because of my finish in my category, I finished first place, which is pretty good. Proud of that.
Yeah.
Able to be automatically invited back to the world level of competition, but that one happened to be an individual contest for the category, and I decided that I needed to focus on my presentation. You know how you do competition, but you're actually doing a show. Actually, you have judges coming by your booth, and wanted to ask you a question and want to learn from you. You know,
Yeah.
competitors tend to be on the forefront of new technique and pushing the envelope, pushing the techniques and all that. So I decided back in 2009, you know, training for the competition, I have to come up with something new. In the process of coming something new, I also had the opportunity to do an article with the back then was the pastry art and design, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, and Tish Boyle was the great collaborator, uh, telling me, Peter, bring out something nice so we could put it on the magazine. And I didn't think too hard about it, and I said I'll do it. Should I turn off that audio? Because it's
Uh, only if it's bothering. We have one audio is on. And we need one of them on. Probably the one on
right,
your phone.
right. Just the one on the phone. Oh, it's on mute. I don't know why.
You're on mute on one. That's good. So it's probably
Okay.
you're probably hearing yourself. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so Tish helped me get a lamination technique presentation in the magazine. And in the magazine where I was describing the folds and not knowing, I guess, you know, you never stop learning, right? So chef, I'm sure you a testament of that, keep learning. And what happened was that I wrote on the my presentation, I said single bookful, double bookful.
Yeah.
I had the book, quote unquote, book in it
Uh-huh.
without thinking too hard. Uh, and I got an email or message, instant message, actually. It was a Facebook instant message from Chef Nick, is it?
Malgiri.
Who's the guy? Majuri, that's it.
Nick
He's the
Malgiri.
one.
Yeah, the great
Majuri,
pastry
yes, the
chef
great,
from
great pastry chef, yeah, from Peter Kemp. And he wrote to me, he said, Peter, you have a great presentation, but I don't quite understand your terminology.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you call it bookful?
That's a
Everything's
good question.
bookful.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me at that time was because I'm Chinese by heritage wise, I'm Chinese. We had thousands of years of folding books. We
Ah,
get all kinds of way to fold books. I didn't quite think about it, but then I said everything's a bookful to me. But he tried to correct me. He said, Peter, that's not right. We in the West have always called that as a single fold,
that's
that
a
as a double fold.
double fold, right?
But I was literally taking it like a lawyer, using word for word and say, wait a minute. If it's a double fold, would that mean two single to be one double? Or the fact that a double should be two single?
Right.
1 plus 1 should be 2, not anything else. So
You
it
would
didn't
think.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it didn't make
exactly.
sense for me to translate something to me when I have to do classes with, let's say, the Chinese crowd in Taiwan, Japanese in Japan. They don't use single fold,
They
double
don't.
fold.
Yeah.
They call it three fold or four fold.
So the terminology is different everywhere, and you felt like
Everywhere.
instead you wanted to get rid of all that confusion.
Correct. I felt that because I am technically a second, English is my second language. I should try to define something that makes sense to me, makes sense to people that I teach everywhere else. So I first start tackling that, okay, I need to make it like anybody could count with their fingers. So even if I don't speak the language. So I decided that, okay, it will be in a number format. And then I realized that I was doing a different fold than some people were doing.
Mhm.
And at that time, my coach, my mentor was Jeffrey Hammelman.
Yes, Jeffrey.
Which is another big name in the baking world, bread making. And he was like, Peter, you know what this is? What lock-in you're doing the butter lock-in? I said, Chef, it's not the common one, at least. not the classic pho, which is dough, butter dough.
Yeah.
I did an English lock-in or alternate lock-in.
Ah,
Again, that terminology of English lock-in or alternate lock-in, it seems like, wait a minute, it is still not not clear enough to some other people.
right, right.
Again, I could use number to describe the pho where I have dough, butter, dough, and I have 5 layers created from that lock-in. So that is already different than the classic, which is a 3, one dough,
Uh,
butter, dough.
yeah,
The other one is a 5, dough, butter, dough.
got it.
So I
And that's
said,
interesting because I
wait,
never heard that term before, the English lock and that. But
yeah,
that was the way I learned it. But nobody ever called it that. They called it something else. They called it
yeah.
the butter
Everybody,
incorporation.
everybody seems to have something to call it, and I again thinking that it is still trying to clarify what are we doing.
Yeah,
We have so many students from so many places, and I'm pretty lucky. Like since the World Cup experience, I've been able to travel 35 different countries to teach.
wow.
But 35 different countries, though, so there must be at least 8 distinctive languages. Let me try to count it: Russian, Spanish,
Yeah,
French,
yeah,
German,
yeah.
Chinese, and
Yeah.
there's 2 type of Chinese: Cantonese and Mandarin.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Indonesian, Malaysian, uh,
What about
Vietnamese.
English? And
Well, there's
Vietnamese
more than
and it's
Vietnamese,
English.
Japanese. I'm already no more finger to count.
I'm at
Actually,
10. I'm at 10.
more,
Yeah.
yes, more than 10 for sure already. So ultimately, everywhere I gone to, I realized no English. If I were to stuck with some term that they say, why you call that? I don't understand in English, even though if they speak English, and there are so many type of English. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's another quick funny story. Is I was in Australia, right? And they have all kinds of lingo, all kinds of words to say something.
Yeah.
And I was saying something. I don't know what I was saying, but then one of the students was like, "Chef, you just said something nasty." I said, "Really?" I said, "I'm not so sure I did, but if you say so, I'll try to
Never know.
not to use that word or anything come close to those phrases." So anyway, like I said, even different English have different
Yeah.
meaning to
Yeah.
some.
It's true.
So I ultimately, about 7 years ago, when I was in Germany, where they were totally convinced that you need to convince them in order for them to really pay attention to you.
Yeah.
Those were I say the really uh, slightly stubborn old school master baker, and
Uh-huh.
they count only butter fat. They do not count dough at all. They count
Uh,
layer of butter fat. They don't count. And so
Interesting.
they have to say, Peter, why do you count locked in? Because that is, if you do a 3 fold, I
Yeah.
mean 3 lock in, it's just 1. After a 3 fold, it'll be 2 or 3 or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they would say. And so, okay, fine. Let me use mathematic mean to teach you.
The universal language is numbers.
And
Yes.
and then one of the master bakers say, you have come up with a universal system. Then well, if somebody have used that universal number system in any way, means, and form, I don't claim to be the only one to have said it, but
Yeah.
I have definitely tried to promote it in the whole world to allow more people to come to a common sense
Yes.
and to be able to utilize that as a management tool. I
Mm.
really think that the management tool is more important than a normal technique. Whatever it is, and why do I try to claim it's a management tool if I gonna use the chalkboard or marker board? I'm gonna write it out. But let's jump into the
Okay.
lamination technique, because
Yeah.
technically it takes some time.
But I love the idea of coming up with a universal system that works for every language and every nationality and now you've kind of brought, the whole world together and you've created, what did you call it, a management tool or a training tool that can be
Exactly.
taught anywhere.
Exactly. So the people that have taken my classes, they have been able to pass along that whole theory thinking
Yeah, yeah,
to the immediate helper of theirs. And you and I know have played many of child play story. You have a dozen of kids and you passing messages from one end to the other.
right,
And
whispering down the lane.
every little bit will change the end result. And so if I have a simplified um, thinking system of how to control a production,
Yeah,
isn't that a bonus to the whole effort of running this universal number system?
exactly. One
Yeah,
of the people who's watching wrote in, it's a global approach.
exactly. It's a global approach. All right, so I am going to start with my butter.
Okay,
Now I don't work with a sheet, so I tend to make my own sheets this way.
okay,
Yeah, the butter that I use is a I say local. It's a Wisconsin butter. For those of you have tried some other brand, I'm sure you find something that you like. But for lamination, you should use a higher fat content butter. Now that doesn't say that you cannot use any other fat. You can, and I have had many other experience of laminating olive oil,
Wow.
coconut oil,
Yeah.
lard, obviously, even sausage fat.
Wow.
And yeah. So if I have worked with at the pizza show, I went to the a sausage supplier that they do
Yeah.
sausages, but they have a fat that they had spiced it up.
Yeah.
I said that's the one I want.
Wow.
It's
Does
all
it
fat,
does it
right?
have to
And
be
they
a
say, yes,
solid?
it's all fat.
Does it have to be a solid fat? You said olive oil. How do you laminate olive oil?
Yes, sir. Olive oil. That was a challenge by an Indian student of mine that wants to do a vegetarian type of lamination. And I said, well, okay, lamination vegetarian is fine because a lot of the time margarine is vegetarian. So but
Yeah.
they say, no, chef, I wanted to try olive oil. We do olive oil. So I took it to upon myself saying, it's okay, we'll give it a try, give it a go. In order to do the oil-based, completely oil-based, such as corn oil, salad oil, olive
Yeah.
oil, you should work as cold as possible. But everybody know you really can't freeze them. So I end up adding a little bit of melted cocoa butter.
Aha. So you stabilize it with
Stabilize it, giving it a little bit of crystal. Now I'm gonna be making some noise here because
Okay.
of the sheeter does make some noises.
Okay, good. And I can see now we've got both views, two views, and there comes the butter through the sheeter on the backside. So
This happened to a lot of people with oops, sorry.
so is
They're
that
like too cold, but the plastic also kind of slippery.
so basically to keep it from sticking to the wheels, you have it enveloped by plastic wrap.
Yes, correct. The thicker the plastic, the slightly more control you have, but that doesn't mean you cannot do on the thinner plastic. The only thing that you have to, yeah.
Is your butter very cold? Is it right out of the refrigerator?
Right out of the refrigerator, but as anybody really pay attention, because it doesn't have as much liquid in it, it really doesn't keep the temperature that cold compared to your piece of dough. So the same piece of dough that you have in the refrigerator versus against your butter in the refrigerator, the butter will be a little slightly warmer.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there is a dough temperature and butter temperature that most people should observe to get the maximum, I say optimal temperature for lamination. The dough should be the trump should be approximately can I use it in Celsius? It's a little bit easier. 4 degree to 0 degree Celsius.
4 to 0. So that's anywhere from 32 degrees
32
Fahrenheit up to about
Yeah,
40 something.
40, maybe less than 40.
Okay, so it's still a cold dough. It's a cold dough. It's not
Cold
a
dough.
room temperature dough. Okay.
Right. Now, meanwhile, the butter, you would have the best pliability when it is at 7 to 11 degrees Celsius. 7-11.
7-Eleven. So
Why
so
I keep it in Celsius because it sounds better. It's 7 to 11.
right.
So basically, it is still warmer. You could take it out 5 minutes before you laminate, and you could then you sheet it down or whatever.
Okay.
Funny thing is that on using Zoom or using online method of teaching, I have did the private consultation. So there was after this COVID-19 pandemic had hit us all, I have had only about a dozen of time of doing this private thing, but it was at the very early on when people were still wanting to get some formal training,
Yeah.
so-called. But I haven't really been, I've been running my bakery, retail bakery for the last 12 months or so.
Yeah.
So
that's a
I'm a little bit
full-time job.
rusty of, I'm a little bit rusty of talking and working at the same time.
Doing fine. This is good. It's very clear.
All right.
So and I see as you're running it through the sheeter, those separate pieces of butter are kind of merging into one big sheet.
Right, exactly. When you first saw it, there was gap.
Yeah.
And you creating this gap, so by the time the butter is being pushed out, it will join together.
Interesting. Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
trick. So what's your goal about how many millimeters or inches?
Actually, I work basically with your equipment. If your equipment is certain length and width, I just basically make sure that it's fit in there for now.
Okay.
I don't go too crazy about the sizes and thickness.
I was thinking more of the thickness. The thickness of it.
Not yet. Yeah. I wouldn't be too worried about it. It's
Okay.
about, I
Okay.
would say, good quarter of an inch.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, good quarter of an inch. Besides, having it at a quarter of an inch, the dough would, the butter would be extremely pliable.
Right.
But if
right.
you have it too thin, then it doesn't help you holding the temperature. So then you would have to work super fast.
Yeah, because it's going to warm up.
Now I'm gonna, after we did the demo of laminating, then we're gonna talk a little bit more in detail how I make the dough.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be a little bit more like sitting down to really kind of like, okay, so this is what I have observed around the world or whatever. And
Gotcha.
so this is, I think it's gonna have too much information to be talk about within 1 hour.
I understand. Well, we'll go in whatever order you want to go.
No, okay, chef. So I have put down my dough here. Now, a lot of the time, when I do demo, I said, look, let's go old school. Really ancient old school. Use your hand, use your arm to measure. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do two simple, basically 2 hand palm down. This is about the starting point of the width, and then I'm gonna go in length.
All right.
Now, anybody take a look at my dough sheeter. I do apologize. This dough have grew up with me, literally speaking. So it is very hard for me to get rid of it.
It's-
It's like unstoppable. First and foremost, it's unstoppable. It really hasn't been broke down, major breakdown or anything, and it keep on working, keep on ticking.
That's fantastic. It's your Timex.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, so okay, so either side you could see it. Which side do you prefer?
Well, right
I
now
usually
on that side, we
I
can see
usually like to. Yeah, what's that?
where it is right now. That's that we can see you and the screen and the dough.
Oh, okay.
If
Oh, okay.
you want to do it
So-
on the other side, if you want to do it on the other side of the sheeter, then we can see the dough. Well, no, we can't see the dough because it's the machine blocks it.
let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's good. We're seeing it there. That's the
All
side.
right. I think this side is slightly better, and I could still adjust. There we go. All right. So this is what I call the bird's eye view. It's like a little bit close to my shoulder, a little bit close to my shoulder, and the butter is half of the length of the dough.
Okay, and now on my screen you're it's highlighted on you more on you. I'm not sure if the audience is seeing both screens. Kermit, is everybody able to see both screens simultaneously? We'll find out. Let us know if anybody.
Yes. Yes, we can.
We're seeing both. Okay, that's good. This is great, Peter. We can see both screens.
Yes. All right. Great. I'm aimed to please. So.
We're hearing from out there. They're seeing both screens. Good.
All right. So I'm trying to give you the full view.
All right.
All right. So, let's see. All right. I usually use a scraper to scrape and add it to places that seems to be lacking of the butter. All right.
Kind of even it out.
Even it out. And by doing this, it's similar to what a chocolatier does with chocolate, where they keep stirring. So keeping the butter tempered.
Mm.
The idea most of the time that I really want to emphasize with a student when they are working with lamination, butter and all that, treat butter like chocolate, please. Because there is a lot of, there are a lot of similarities. First, the butter and chocolate both have crystal. And so they tend to get harder as the temperature goes colder. All right, so I just cut here. Now, there's a lot of steps, people that you could alternate to do it. Some people just flip it over and then score it. And they might not expose the butter. My take to it is that I give it complete exposure. You want to have the butter come all the way to the edge. And for some people we say, wait a minute, chef, you're getting the butter all the way to the edge. Aren't you worried that the butter will melt? And my answer to them is work faster, please.
Work faster.
Don't get lazy and work faster.
So
All right.
yeah, so the room, your room temperature should be on the cool side, probably, like an air conditioner room.
Yeah, technically speaking, yes. The cooler, the better, of course. But if you don't happen to have that as your setup, I'm going to show you how to do it in a little bit. Okay. The hardest place that I ever had to work was in two different countries, but similar area. One was Vietnam, the other was Kuala Lumpur.
Wow.
Both places were near 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow. Yeah. Butter's already starting to melt at that temperature.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna roll the dough, make it thinner. And I wanted to showcase something here. Don't you see that on up here, there's a little bit of a hump?
Yep.
So that means there is extra dough up here. So you could do this to minimize that hump by rolling it thinner now. Rolling it thinner, so by the time you roll this side, because it's kept thicker, it will balance it out.
Mm.
So to me, it's like part of the chess game that I play with myself on the dough.
Yeah. So you have to stay on top of it. Yeah.
Now I have had made the adjustment, and you can see it's kind of round on this edge here,
Yeah.
and the corner is on. Sorry, the corner is on this side. Actually, it's away from the end.
Yes.
But here's a trick. Here's a trick most people wouldn't do it. This is the old corner. This is the new corner. Got it? Old corner is here, new corner is here.
So you pulled
So
it out.
all you have to do is pull it out just a little bit,
Okay.
and put it back in where it was already off somewhere else. So don't fight it.
Yeah.
You never need to fight it. All right, so again, I see all my butter to the edge. Now here's a funny thing. The more you work, of course, every day you work, then you become an expert in production of the product. So you may be better than me even, but you know, I'm good with explanation, so people love that explanation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I noticed that sometimes I had a lot of students that does lamination almost single every day, like several times a day. So they get really good really fast. But
Yes.
some of the time they don't know what they did was wrong or what they did was right. So as soon as I give them this whole universal number system training, they love it. They just love it. It basically explain what they were doing all along. It's almost like a auto mechanic that you pull a car over and they go, I don't, yeah, it works this way. Just kick it on the bumper this side, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they didn't know that by kicking it, the two wire get in touch so they could start the car now.
This is great. So I'm going to be able to make laminated dough and fix my car at the same time.
Yeah, almost. All right, so the dough is rolled down to really thin now.
Yeah.
Now it's down to I would call it 3 millimeter.
Uh-huh.
So it's really thin. And by doing that, now most people will say, "Oh no, I don't do that. I would let it roll it, keep it thick." In fact, when I was in Germany, where I was rolling it really thin, they were literally their jaw was dropped.
They were freaking out.
They were like, "Oh, we keep it 8 millimeter,
Yeah.
no less than that," because they worry about the butter will mash in. And I told them that think about this: your working temperature at the very beginning should be optimal, the best you are encountered to do certain things. So don't worry that you have actually make it not work out for you.
Yeah,
All right,
because everything's cold.
Yes, exactly. Everything is cold. Now I'm gonna give a view of what I'm using. I am using a product. I don't get endorsement dollar for this, but because I use it so much, you know, I have been able to sell them on the roll. So there are countries that can't buy them anyway, so they love it. One of my students in Singapore said, "Chef, this is the most expensive water I ever bought." So basically, it's the ice blanket. This is
Yeah.
ice blanket. When you bring this one with your luggage, first it's heavy. Second is it's a bunch of liquid. If there's a equivalent of TSA in those other countries in the immigration, they also would freak out. They say, "What is this?" We
Yeah.
checked it on the X-ray. It's lots of liquid. I said, "It is only water." And trust me, after the 9/11, I have no problem bringing with me with my luggage. So that
Oh,
is one item that I have brought all over the world to supplement my expenses, you could say.
yeah. So this helps to chill the dough down.
Yeah, exactly. Extra couple minutes where you don't have to worry when I'm in countries that are super hot.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So with this thing, I am going to just really disclose one extra fold that most people have never seen it. Now earlier I did a off-center
Yeah.
fourfold. I call it fourfold because you're creating four layer, and so people will say double. Okay, fine, double. That's fine. But I did two single. To me, it's two single. Or
Uh-huh.
using mathematically, I did two of two. One is an off-center two.
Yeah.
The other one is just two after that. 2 times
Okay.
2 become my 4 layers.
Right. Right.
Again, it doesn't contradict anything that I've done so far. Now I'm gonna ignore the alternate lock-in. Alternate lock-in to me, it seems like it's just a start of some other mean of locking the butter at the beginning. But if people like to see it or like to talk about it, I'm going to use another medium because one thing is that because this is the actual working kitchen, I cannot demo other things and the dough will be going wasted. Unfortunately, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it practical, something that I could use every single time afterward. So yeah,
Right.
I just saw that somebody loved that ice blanket. It is very cheap. You go online, Amazon nowadays, you could buy it.
And it's just called and it's called a blanket, a water blanket,
Ice blanket.
ice blanket. Okay. Good. So this is the same piece that you just folded up.
This is another dough.
Oh, another
Another
one.
piece
Okay.
of dough. Yeah, this is another dough.
But it was
But I
already
could-
out at the same. It was already filled with the butter and everything.
No butter yet.
Oh, this is just
No
a
butter
blank
yet.
dough. Okay.
Just a blank dough. Yes, but let me do a quick. I see on this side. On this side. Yeah, I'm gonna tilt this just slightly more to give
There
you
you go.
that because I feel like I love talking to chef. So this camera is the only one that has your face on it. The other one doesn't have it. All right. So again, if the butter is half,
Okay. Butter's covered in half. Yeah.
okay, if the butter is half, you do this, you created dough, butter, dough. Again, right?
Right.
3, that's a 3. The alternate one would be a little bit more like the butter is 2/3. So by the time you fold, you got the 5.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now imagine that you have your butter at 75% of the length of the dough, and you cut it into quarter, and you start stacking the dough on top of each other to encase the butter. You will
Yeah.
have 7 layers. So the count is 3, 5, 7, jump to 11, jump to any prime odd number.
Wow.
So I have the luck of going to a very, I would say, a wholesale bakery that doesn't have so much of a high-end computer lineup, but they still want to do a high version, but they have only certain dimension to do their lamination. So I show them that, okay, if you have a way to extrude your butter to your dough, on top of your dough, and you keep on going, and all you have to have is a bunch of rolling cutter and cut the dough and butter, and then your conveyor belt is the one that do the magic here. The conveyor belt helps you to converge together. You automatically save time and space on laminating.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So there has been a handful of bakery that I did the consultation for, that they convert their old conveyor belt system, adding bunch of cutter, and all they had to do was lining them up and put it together, and then keep rolling, and they don't do the zigzagging, because zigzagging takes a lot more length in the production line.
I see. So you're saving a lot of steps.
Saving a lot of steps, saving a lot of space. So that's what I helped some people did.
Yeah, because most people would never think of that.
Yeah. So technically speaking, whoever bought this program and they happen to be a wholesaler, this might be tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars saving in consultation.
Right. Right. It pays for itself very quickly.
It pays for itself. Yeah, I have a lot of so-called offer to some country that I would say I shouldn't mention it just in case, because if I have gone there, I couldn't go to other country. You know, it's one of those places.
Yeah.
So I should keep my mouth keep my mouth shut.
Funny. They want to be the only one.
Yeah. All right. So again, I'm going to be cutting the butter only to emphasize that you can. A lot of I would say I'm an Obama fan. I would say an Obama supporter. It's like, yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
And yes, you can as well. So just do that. Exposing all butter to the edge so you can see it. I'm gonna immediately go in length that I don't care how long it is, okay? Okay, 1 second. It's great that I'm on both cameras, so you don't miss anything if you really try to catch everything.
Right.
Now again, this is the old corner. The new corner is coming up. This is the old corner. The new corner is coming up. How's my time so far? How many minutes?
Well, we theoretically only have 10 minutes left in this hour. We can run over a little. We can run over a little bit if we need to, but not too much longer.
I think I'm okay. All right, so I think I'm there. I'm gonna use on this side. Wait, on this side. This side. I'm gonna go on this side. I have to pass it back. Oops. I better.
As one of our viewers pointed out, we're getting it down to like about 1/8 of an inch.
No, it's still I would say no, still a quarter of an inch, 1/3 of an inch. No more than that.
Okay, because you said 3 millimeters, I think earlier.
I call it more like 4 millimeter. I want to be on the safe side. Don't people if your place is not cold enough, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna attempt to move my, let's see if I can move my camera slightly further back. Slightly further back, yes. Oh, it's
Okay.
just the dough. Oops.
Okay.
All right, are you there?
Yep, we can see the corner.
All right, got it. So, all right, so I have it all thin, and too bad I don't have the length on my belt, but I'm gonna attempt to do what I'm doing right now is to, you could say I did a single fold. This is what my single fold is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna explain something here. This is my single fold,
Okay.
which is a two fold. So you just have it together.
Yeah.
This is called, I call this end to end. End to end. Wait,
Got it.
can you see it? This is an end to end. So end to end.
Yeah.
And you could do like this, and that's your double fold
Got it.
or a four fold. All
Yeah.
right. So, and as everybody know, you could have it offset, off center, or you could do a center. I'm going to do a center too. Hold on a second. I wanted to show people how to do a center fold. Sounds good. I'm in Chicago. Back in the days when I first came to Chicago, that Playboy building was right in the Lakeshore Drive area. So, oh, centerfold.
Oh, there you go. Centerfold has a totally different meaning. Yes.
That is a different meaning. Now, this is a centerfold. Most people try to do this way, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Now, I beg the difference. When you do that, what did you just create? What did you, anybody pay attention? What did you just create? You created a huge folding edge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like snowball effect. You know, you from a
Yeah.
small snowball into a big one. So you have
Yeah.
a big one on a big one on the end, where these two are much thinner. So in order to do what I'm gonna do next is that I don't have that big problem where I have to cut the edge to open it up. So now it's just a zigzag method of folding that four fold or double fold or double, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
Now this one doesn't have that tension whatsoever because the fold on this one is equal to these two. Got it?
Think so. I think I follow.
It's a little. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about that a little bit later. But again, the goal is to show people that there's more ways to
Yes.
how call it skin a
It's
cat.
not just the way that it shows us in one book, but there's other methods. If you break it down and think
Yeah.
about it logically, yeah.
All right, again, that was I'm going back to that end-to-end two-fold, but it isn't a end-to-end two-fold for that sake. How are we doing that, Chef?
We're good. We're at 5 minutes to the hour.
All right, so I'm gonna eyeball this. I have one part here, two part here, and a half part there. So 2.5. One part here, two part here, and a half here. So by the time I fold it back up, the whole length is, I'm trying to get 5 part.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I'm going to do this, mark it, just mark it.
Yep.
I'm doing the Tai Chi fold.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Again, it's a zigzag technique.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm increasing the fold number and try to expedite the lamination method.
I see now. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 layer here right now. Now, if I could do a 5, the next one that I could do is a 7, 11, 13, 17. It is always a odd prime number.
Prime number, odd, yeah.
Odd prime number. And you would say, well, why is it odd prime number? Why are you shooting for odd prime number? Because if you do the threefold, the single fold, people keep calling single fold. If you haven't been able to convince you yet. Single fold is a 3,
Yep.
or a double, which is a 2 of 2.
Yeah.
So ultimately, when you break it down, all those combinations somehow will not get the same layer combination as I start with a prime odd number. So that
Okay.
is why I stick to tell you that there is much more method to do lamination.
Yes.
And the whole, yeah, the whole conversation is kind of like this, Chef. So I have grown up, let's just say I'm a frog that I have grown up underneath of a well. And the fact that my sky is limited by the measure of the well opening. And as soon as I'm able to climb above the well opening, my sky is open completely. I'm no longer having a limitation. This is exactly why I'm trying to emphasize that in my number system, because you are tracking everything, you could do anything you want.
Okay.
That's the critical part about this whole universal number system. Plus, after this, I'm going to be talking about it. All right, so this is a 5-fold.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to keep the less number of fold, less number of whatever action to it, you could actually start out with a English lock-in, which is a 5 lock-in, then do a 5-fold, then automatically you are above certain number, and you could just call it like, I'm done. I'm done with my lamination. I could do whatever shaping I want. Isn't that saving you time?
Yeah.
That is what I'm trying to get to. Yep.
Interesting.
That is exactly what I'm trying to get to.
It really takes being able to think outside the box to be able to come up with something like that.
Yes, try to at least. Now this is the original one. As you could tell, I'm trying to maximize the width. I don't have to do that all the time this way.
One of our viewers, Mike, says that your folding technique is similar to how my wife likes to fold towels.
You know, the first time I come up with those the fold, especially the Tai Chi fold, I was calling the linen fold. How people do after a wash, or tower fold, you know, like a beach tower fold. But it didn't sound so nice. But I didn't have a name for it yet. So I was touring. I was teaching the lamination technique in Taiwan, and one of the very respected baker in Taiwan was saying, "Hey, that looks like you're doing Tai Chi," where I'm going like this. So that became the nickname, and it stuck.
That's great. That's how names come in. Yeah.
Yep, that's stuck. All right, so I'm tempted to make it as straight as possible, where people have been able to pay attention to. straight corner here. Let's see if I get straight corner here. Almost straight corner here.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now I am also gonna do a fourfold, but again, I could do the Tai Chi fold one more time just so people see it in a different camera.
Yep. Mark it.
Again, you see it? That's it.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna kind of, I think I could kind of conclude on my lamination demo, but we're gonna do a little bit of more of a almost like a classroom with a chalkboard or something to discuss the stuff a little bit further. But I'm also taking a question too.
Well,
whoever has question to ask, this is the perfect.
somebody
time to
asked, someone asked the question, do you have a dough completed so we can see all the layers?
No. Well,
Not yet.
other than the one that I just laminate.
That was finished. That one was already
Yeah, that was done. That was done already.
The next
So
step,
if I,
the
if
next
I want
step from
to,
that dough is to
I
make
could
shapes.
make croissants. Yes, I can
Yeah,
make
okay.
croissants. So with the lamination right now, there's a lot of tension built to it. There's no way to do a croissant shaping demo, other
Right.
than wait and see.
Right. At this point, well, people can that's a whole other class, so to speak. But the main thing is to get
Exactly.
the layers, to get the.
Yeah,
So what
exactly.
what is the total number of layers then? When you're ready to go to croissant?
Well, here, that's why I want to start to talk in my little chalkboard.
Okay.
Or master board. All right.
Let's do it.
I'm wondering, should I switch to? I'm actually gonna send you guys somehow a link to my lamination universal number system theory in discussion, so you guys can have it. Chef, have I sent it to you?
I don't think so. If you would, we'll post it. If you can
Yeah,
send it to
exactly.
me and to Gurmit, or I'll forward it to him, then we'll post it in the archive section and the rest of the folders. Okay, here we go.
All right, so I'm doing the universal number system. Okay.
Ready.
Classic. Yes. Okay. So the first number that in my system, there is one number and then the rest of the number. The first number is the lock-in.
Right.
This is the folds. Lock-in and the folds. So if you would hear me say a 3, 4, 4, you would automatically know the first number is your lock-in, which is a classic lock-in.
Got it.
Okay, and then your fold is 4 and a 4.
A 4 and a 4.
Right. Or so for the lock-in, there's a number. That's why I'm gonna say there's a 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. It's endless, really. Basically, depending how wide your dough sheeter or whatever countertop you have. So this is the lock-in combination. You could have 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, The fold combination, you could have 2, 3, 4, which is actually 2 of 2. So technically you don't have to put it in, but 4 is fine. 5, you saw the Tai Chi fold.
Tai Chi,
6, if you do a 2 and a if you do a 2 and a 3, that's a 6, but
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
people don't do it together. So a 7, 11, 13, and so forth. So the
Wow.
combination is seemingly also endless. So when I do a 3 for the first number is a 3 is a classic locking. If I do a 5, well, let's do this. This is even funnier because that's how I do it. Okay, most people. Okay, I'm gonna give you this idea of this combination: 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. So I have a lock-in at 3, a 4 at 4, and a 4 at 5, which is what I did on one of the dough here.
Okay.
What is the number of layer? How to calculate the number of layer? Or let's put it this way: if I do an English lock-in, then a 4-fold, then a 3-fold, will you or anybody calculate to find, are they different or the same?
Let's say 12. So the last one after the 4 that's a 5, right? On the first.
That's a 3.
No, I'm
This
sorry.
one
On
is
the
a
other.
4. This is a 5. That's a 5.
Yeah, it looks like a 3. Okay, there you go. 5. Okay, so
This is a 5.
so when you multiply 3 times 4 to get 12, and then 12 times 5 to get 60.
No, chef. No, chef. Let's do this. I draw it because I started out drawing stuff. Okay, this is the dough. This is the butter. This is the dough, right?
Yeah.
Dough, butter, dough.
Yeah.
So I start drawing them out. Start drawing another. Right? This is your fourfold. This is your fourfold. But
Yeah.
you see, dough and dough, there's no fat. You did not add fat in there. So there's actually dough and dough, there's no fat.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
no fat,
Yeah.
fat. So you have to take those number out. So 3 times 4 is your original calculation, but you have to minus 3 dough to dough contact point.
Mm,
So therefore, the true number of layer is 9 now.
I see. Okay.
And then if you do that to do the next one to put it down, is next one is 9 times 5, 45 minus 4. It's always, now you say, wait a minute. How do you get minus 3? How do you get minus 4? Well, again, it is the layer of repeated contact point.
You have to take out the places where the dough is on top of dough.
Exactly. So I always use my finger. Count. If you have 4-fold, you take out 3 layer of repeated dough layers.
I got you.
So just use your finger. Exactly. If you do a 5, how many contact? 4 contact. If you do a 3, it's only 2. So
Got
simple.
it. I got it. Okay.
All right. So it's 45 minus 4. Now you have 41 layer. This method have 41. So before we calculate this, let's make an educated guess. Is this combination same as this combination?
Let's see.
Just a guess. Yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
No. All right, let's calculate to see. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 3,
Okay. 17.
17. All right, 17 times 3 minus 2, 51 minus 2 is 49. So you are right, chef. There is a difference. 41 versus against 49.
Because when you start with 5, when you start at the beginning with the English lock-in or the 5 layer, the multiplication goes way up.
Exactly. But let's just for fun and switch this up. So it's 3, 5, 4, and or switch this up. 5, 3, 4. Is it the same as by itself? Like so 3, 5, 4 is the same as 3, 4, 5. And or 5, 3, 4 is the same as 5, 4, 3. By itself. Now this is just to compare itself.
So it's the order that you do it in affects the final number.
Does it? That's the question. Does it? Let's do it. Number 5, 3, 5, 4. 3 times 5 is 15 minus 4. 11. 11 times 44 minus 3. Now 44 minus 3 is 41. So 41 and 41 is the same. So therefore, the fold in order, doesn't matter if you change up the order of the fold, it does not impact on the final fold number. So therefore, the commonality is, yes, once I stuck with that type of fold, with that type of whatever, it doesn't matter if I switch up the order of the fold, I will still have the same number.
It all depends on whether you start with a regular 3-layer lock-in or a 5-layer lock-in.
Exactly, Sean. Exactly. So,
all right.
So that's what I'm teaching people to realize, that that's why it's so critical to tell people what lock-in you're using. That is why my first number within my universal number system is the lock-in, to talk about the lock-in.
Yes, that's so important. Yeah.
You cannot make assumption. What is the first 3 alphabet of making assumption? Don't make yourself ask yourself. Exactly.
Well,
so that's exactly what I did.
Let me ask you before we run out of time, because we'll switch over and we'll continue this conversation in the after party but for the folks who are watching who can't come to the after party or watch on the archive, they'll only be able to see this part because we don't record the we don't make the after party available. But so let me ask one question: is when in your operation, do you have different combinations that you prefer for certain products? Or do you have a favorite combination that you use for your croissants and your Danish?
Yes, actually, it is actually, to expand the lecture part. I definitely have different preference for different sizes of croissants. So let's just say if I have a 20 gram croissant, I obviously would go with 3, 4, maybe 3, 4. That's it, or 3, 3. 3 lock-in, 3 fold. So bare minimum of layers. So why is that? Because by the time I need a triangle coming out of it, my triangle have to be thin, because that way I could roll it. If I have a lot of layer, by keeping it lots of layer, my end product would be much smaller but much thicker in layer. So that's why I have to make that change. Make that a so-called destination of it. Different fold. Let's just say a 50 gram fold, I would do a 3, 3, 2 maybe. Okay, a 75 gram, I would 3, 4, 4, something like that.
Interesting.
Again, something like a 130. 140 is the tartine weight in San Francisco. They make gigantic Californian croissant.
Yeah.
So, but they do a reverse. They do a 3, 3, 4 or something. But they had it such a long croissant. By the time they roll, they keep on having that same amount of a layer.
That's a big croissant. So what about this? Is it the same for your Danish pastries?
Danish and croissant, I treat it similarly. I don't try to go crazy. Anything that have yeast, I would definitely have a way of controlling the layer even better, or relax, not to try to go crazy, have a lot of layer fold to it. Puff pastry, then I could go a lot more fold to it.
You need a lot more layers, Okay, the question came in that's important before we leave. What home bakers won't necessarily have a sheeter like you have. Any tips for home bakers who want to be able to use the system?
Yes, they could still try to work with optimal environment. Control where they start working. There are a couple of items that I have here, near here, besides the ice blanket. Well, anyway, it's anything that's cold that you can put in your refrigerator or freezer. I've done glass. Granite tends to be too heavy.
Granite.
And you know, funny thing is most people don't realize it is not chocolate that we're working on. The dough have a lot of water in it. The water activity in the product tend to zap the coal away from the the marble.
Uh-huh.
So it's the opposite. Where the if it's chocolate or just butter, yes, the marble would impact the butter or the fat, and it creating that crystallization, so it hardened. But the dough doesn't do that. So just crank up your air conditioner. Then.
Now if you're using a rolling pin though,
Yes.
it's okay to it's going to take extra force. Then the machine has its own force that does it for you, but you can make it work with a rolling pin. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, you can. So let me try to give a quick demo. I say quick demo. It's just illustration of what type of rolling pin I have. Voila, the good old French wood rolling pin. This I wouldn't recommend for anybody that's doing lamination. Why? Is that this is a fondant rolling pin.
Fondant.
So by the time you hit number of times of butter over the years, this tend to bow, tend to kind of curve. So by the time you roll, it's not good. Now, here's another choice. Obviously, you could be straight or you could be like this or whichever way to give you more leverage.
I like that.
And I love to showcase that, okay, fine, let's have some rubber band to help you guide your thickness. That helps a lot.
There's a great tip. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well,
I was actually working with a Swedish company that does a almost like a cold plate kind of thing that you could chill that cold plate and then you could sandwich your dough between it, and then by the time you have it, you could roll it in between. And I also saw some places that their rolling pin is actually like an empty pipe that they could put in cold water and freeze it, and then close it up, and then they could use it like always a cold rolling pin. So there's cool. all kinds of way to do it.
All right. Well, let's continue this conversation in what we call the after party. And what you and I are going to do is we're going to log out. We're going to log out of this webinar and then go back to the email you got earlier, and gives you the special login to come to the after party, to the VIP after party. And then those people who are watching can join us there, and we'll continue and talk for another half hour or so. And they can ask you some more questions. And Peter, Yuen, thank you so much. Before we sign off, for those again who are watching, the name of your bakery and what's the address in Chicago in case they're in town?
The place is called La Patisserie P. It's located at 1050 West Argyle. Obviously, you could just Google it, Google my name, do whatever you like, and search me out.
La Patisserie P.
P.
Yeah, you got it.
P stands for passion for pastry. Yeah,
you got it. And I think anybody who's watching this understands that you got the passion.
Thank you.
And they probably are getting it while you're watching. They're bringing their own passion to this. So if you get a chance, go visit. You get to try some award-winning pastries and see Peter in action. Peter, thank you so much. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes in the after party. And everybody else, thank you. We'll see you Monday. We've got Jonathan Deutsch and Rebecca Eder talking about innovation options for leftover bread. And then next Wednesday, Richard Cobbage on gluten-free baking. It just keeps happening. And we'll see you. And congratulations to our knife winner today. Which is already blanked out on his name. Make sure you write to me so I can send you the knife. Peter, we'll see you in a couple minutes. Everyone else,
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Our event technical and production partners, Ganoid Communications, including our producer, Gurmit Singh, and his team, Jita Gajaria, Gagandeep Singh, and Jaydev Kashari. Thanks also to Ted Nelson and Lael Fretzel of our creative and marketing team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University who supported me throughout this event. My executive assistant, Sarah Standifer, Communications Director, Melinda Law, Chancellor, Mim Rooney, Charlotte Campus President Cheryl Richards, and our executive team leaders, deans, and faculty, Maureen Dumas, Michael Schrader, Michelle Nicholas, Mark Norman, Brent Steyerwalt, Laurie Heimbach, Jerry Lanuza, Amy Felder, Harry Paymiller, Richard Miskovich, and many, many others. Thank you all.